Fellow horror film fanatics, what's your favorite horror or thriller? What food is expensive and overrated? What's currently legal that shouldn't be? Oh, bribing politicians? Oh, sorry, I mean donations? Payment processing fees. I should not have to pay for the privilege of paying my bills. Insider trading for members of the US Congress. Politicians and their families buying stocks and crypto. It's literally insider trading. Marketing a price that isn't the actual price you intend to charge, and then adding resort fees or adding 4% randomly to the bill for inflation. Child marriage. I'm sorry, that's legal? I hate it here. Politicians hiring their family members to work for them and pay them ungodly amounts of money from the money they are given/raise. Pharmaceutical advertising to the general public. Do you suffer from anything ranging from an inconvenience to a life-threatening disease? You, too, can perform daily tasks again. Ask your doctor if medication name is right for you. Side effects may include nausea, drowsiness, indigestion, heartburn, genital rash, brittle bones, hair loss, blindness, hearing loss, gout, lupus, enlarged kidneys, spontaneous cartilage disintegration, and demonic possession. It really is just at a certain point the medicine is worse than the disease. For-profit prisons and detention centers. Those super bright headlights that fancy cars have. Are they trying to kill the drivers in front of them? Yeah, I'm sick of driving at night and getting flashbanged every 0.5 seconds. What's the best response to an ex who says, "I miss you"? This is the reason I left you, because you keep entertaining your exes. Depends on whether they were decent or did me dirty. How is this the only comment of hundreds so far saying it depends? Like, holy shit. You'd think every relationship in the world had one person over the other who is now trying to hurt them more if the comments in this thread were to be taken seriously. Understandable. Have a nice day. Probably the only good response. Give them the old Han Solo and reply, "I know." No response. Message read. Sorry, who is this? We dated? Can you be more specific? We went to Paris together? Can you be more specific? But your aim is getting better. I read that in Grunkle Stan's voice, LOL. Listen, I'm no Alex Hirsch, so of course that was bad. It's okay, it'll pass. Fleabag. If I didn't know that was the name of the TV show, I would be like, damn, that's rude. I don't. Good decision. Hello there, the angel from my nightmares, the shadow in the background of the morgue. I'm no musician, but those sound like good lyrics. What is a cool way to say, I'm a virgin? I've fended off every person that has attempted to bed me. Sadly, no attempts were made. I'm a stranger to love. I don't know the rules. Ooh, that's kinda slick. Of course I haven't lost my virginity. I never lose. Unashamedly. Yeah, I mean, if you're just out there like SpongeBob screaming, I'm a virgin! That's pretty cool. I have not f***ed around, and consequently have yet to find out. I'm an active member of the Reddit community. No, the question said how to say it cool. I am beyond worldly desires. With a wink and finger guns. I mean, if you use finger guns anyways, that's already pretty cool. What is something you will never do again? Attempt to pick up a wild snake. Well, yeah, that was your first mistake. Get back on Facebook. Don't do it! It's not worth it. Cosign a loan. Well, it depends the situation. Are you the parent of the person who's getting the loan, or are you just a friend? Go back to prison. I made a vow with myself that I would never go back because of what happened to me there. I kept my vow because it's been over 40 years since I got out, and I haven't been back since. Well, hey, congrats on not getting back in jail. Share a house with a lazy person. Look, it's not that I'm lazy, I just see the dishes and I'm like, I don't want to do that right now. Work retail. The ways my mental health suffered was just not worth it. The worst part of retail is that every customer believes the customer is always right. So that means treat the employees like absolute trash. I had COVID all week, which dulled my senses quite a bit, so my tolerance for spicy food was massively increased as a result. I decided to test my limits, eventually working my way up to the scorpion peppers I've been growing. Much to my delight, this 1 million Scoville pepper wasn't that bad. The reason I'll never do it again, however, is because, well, let's just say these peppers burn twice. Once on the way in and once on the way out. Ah, yes, you experienced the Johnny Cash. Ye ol' ring of fire. Tell people about my future plans or goals. I guess I understand that, but I don't know. Open marriage insisted upon our therapist. Let me guess. The therapist had sex with your spouse? Sounds like a great great plot. If you became a god for exactly 1 hour, what's the first thing you're doing? I think that depends on what powers I have as a god, because we're not the god, we are a god. Cure everyone's chronic pain. My fibromyalgia and I would cast off agnosticism for you. Smiting. Lots and lots of smiting. I would ask Reddit what to do. Delete the gym. Hit the lawyer. Facebook up. Probably an anxiety attack from the sudden responsibility. Bring my Labrador back for one more glorious walk on the beach. A little selfish, but I understand. Switch it off and on again. What's the worst that could happen, really? I would make it so all food was as healthy for you as vegetables, while keeping its respective taste. I don't think I've ever seen an answer like this before, and it is so good. Implement karma. Help someone cross the street? You get all the green lights on your way home, bro. Cut in line? Sorry, they ran out of that thing you wanted. Get rid of my son's autism so I can hear him actually talk and speak, even if it's for 1 hour. I just want to know what his voice sounds like and what he would have to say. I want to hear him say, "I love you, Mom." Tell me how he's feeling and what his favorite color is. Calling Aphrodite. What are you going to do with the other 58 minutes? What are some important facts that people seem to ignore if a zombie apocalypse ever happened? If you're dependent on meds to keep you going, you'll probably be the first to go. It's unfortunate, but it is true, kinda. Tennis elbow. You hit a human skull with a machete, you're going to get a repetitive stress injury. A lot of people seem to forget every facet of survival that doesn't involve killing zombies. Like, can you produce textiles? So, know how to preserve food? If not, you're gonna freeze and starve before the zombies get you. How hard it would be for the average person to even try to kill one. Everyone loves to think, oh, I'd kill 1,000,000 zombies, but when you're face to face with a real zombie who looks like a person, I don't think you're gonna be so confident. Gas goes bad and the rubber gaskets in cars rot. That it would be over in about 6 months. Decomposition is a thing. Islands. Seriously, all you need to do is go to a remote island or low populated island, only accessible by boat or rarely by plane, and you'll be much safer. Do you think zombies have the brain power, let alone energy, strength, and knowledge of how to swim or operate a boat? Well, it depends on what the zombie apocalypse situation is. If it's Resident Evil, you're screwed. If it's anything else, maybe. You are almost certainly not as good of a shot as you think you are. I went to a shooting range once, and I missed so much. What is the opposite of your username? Confused Coyote said, Focused Roadrunner, probably. Oh, I see what you did there, you Looney Tunes weirdo. Lost in a Dream said, Found in a Nightmare. I think that's equally as cool. Taco Bell 69. Healthy Solid Poops 96. Live Like It's Tuesday said, Die Like It's Wednesday. Yeah, fair enough. But it's true, said Facebook Memes. Nebula Ninja said, Black Hole Pirate is funny, lol. Same. I don't get what is funny is saying. Forever Useless said, Temporarily useful. You're not wrong. Brief Moments said, Boxers permanently. Whoa, what a great day said, Damn, what a day. I can't even think of what my username backwards would be other than like Brandy Dicks. I don't know. What is the eeriest / most depressing town or city in the world? Norilsk. It is in Russia and basically a giant apartment complex. No green, only concrete. No green, only concrete sounds like a very Russian thing to say. Mansfield, Ohio. Geographic wonder as the only hole above ground. Mansfield in England is also a shithole, LMAO. I once accidentally drove into this American town called East St. Louis and never saw any place that bad ever since. And you made it out without a robbery? No, I didn't get robbed. Probably because I got out of there as fast as I could. I only ended up in East St. Louis because this was before GPS and I got lost trying to get to a place in Belleville. I'm not from St. Louis or its area and the highways confused me. Pyongyang is half theater production, half ghost town. Most of it is empty and the few businesses that are actually open are only there for appearances and to occasionally serve important visitors. Gary, Indiana usually ranks pretty high. In Indiana, saying go to Gary is a significant insult. Norilsk, Russia. Look it up. It's terrible. Detroit looked like an episode of The Walking Dead when I was there 8 years ago. I don't know how it's doing now. Americans of Reddit, what is something the rest of the world needs to hear? Animals in Yellowstone will kill you. Edit. Thank you everyone for the gifts. Me. When we ask for ice, they give us a full cup. Water should always be free at restaurants. 27 US states are actually farther north north than the southernmost point of Canada. Some of us do know our geography. Without practical and regular use, learning a second language is extremely difficult. What do you count as a masterpiece? Movie, TV, book, etc. Why? Tetris. Why? Because it has literally zero fat on it. You couldn't even try improve upon it. You just add more fat to it. I love a complex, mind-blowing masterpiece, but nothing gets me more than a, oh my god, this is so simple and yet incredible. Portal 2, video game. The first was groundbreaking, but the sequel took the basic idea and just ran wild with it. The mechanics of the game, complemented by the story and the writing, was top-notch. Absolute masterclass in video game production. While the ending of Portal 2 is a pretty good closeout of it, I really hope that they're secretly making a third, but we all know Valve can't count to 3. True Detective Season 1. Some of the best dialogue/interactions between the protagonists, shot brilliantly, and it's one of the most atmospheric shows I've ever seen. I really can't say enough good things about it. Holes. It may sound silly, but literally everything ties together, no matter how small the detail. The Wire. It's a show that still resonates today, even when dealing in issues from 20 years ago. Anyone who's grown up in or around poverty can find a character to relate to, and each season is its own story. Gravity Falls. Watching through it as an adult and following along with all the details of the journals and the ciphers was a great time. Over the Garden Wall is another great watch for Halloween time. Oh, Over the Garden Wall's so good. I just rewatched it and just the whole vibe, the aesthetic, Spirited Away. The story, the animation, everything about this movie is good. I may be a little biased since I watched it when I was young, so there's some nostalgia with it, but it's still really good. Every Ghibli work is masterpiece. I like all of them, hasn't been one I disliked. Bad grammar aside, they are correct. Every Ghibli movie is so masterfully done. I consider To Kill a Mockingbird a masterpiece, both the book and the movie. The reason why is because it wasn't afraid to show the racial injustices of the South. Not to mention, Gregory Peck is a phenomenal actor and I could not see anyone else playing Atticus. Wall-E. It shows what will happen if mankind became overly reliant on technology up to the point that it will destroy nature without us realizing it. As a kid, I already feel like it will happen at some point in time, and I realize how accurate it will be, and behold, it's slowly unfolding before our eyes today. Anyways, I consider this movie a masterpiece. I also somehow dream of creating a real-life Wall-E robot that really collects and sorts garbages one day as a kid, but yeah, I think I'll give up on that. There are other ways. What's normal at 3 a.m. and terrifying at 3 p.m.? Dead silence. Yeah, I guess that would be pretty spooky during the day. Ghosts. I think I'd be more concerned to see them during the day because I feel like they would just be in charge of my house at that point, waking up and not knowing where I am. That's just a normal nap. Still terrifying at 3 a.m., LOL. What's something that's considered normal that creeps you out immediately? Family channels. Imagine having to live your entire life on camera with little to no privacy without being able to consent for it. Also, to my knowledge, there are no current laws that protect child influencers' income like child actors have. If your content can't exist without your child, it's their job, not yours. Advertising, especially target advertising. The constant attempt to manipulate you psychologically to make you believe you need something that's only a want. Creepy AF. Tickling that doesn't stop at the victim's request. Oh yeah, that's just really uncomfortable. When people come to your door and knock or ring the bell and then peer in the window. Oh god, yeah, that's so, just don't look in the house, come on. Open door policies in families. My in-laws just walk in whenever they want and I hate it. I get it if you're direct family and you've done it forever, but if you're in-laws, then you need to establish new rules. People making Instagrams for their babies and making captions as if the baby were writing it. Every company creating an ecosystem requiring my home address and credit card and my birthday just to listen to some music or use some software. Not a shred of my identity is unsold at this point. Beauty pageants for young kids. God, I always think about those and how, what is Honey Boo Boo doing now? Huh? Like, are they okay? When people refer to kids/babies as flirting when they are just being playful. Yeah, knock it off. That's just creepy. You're applying these things to people who can't think yet. What's the biggest mistake you've watched someone make in their personal life? Must be my disabled brother who fell for an internet scam. He met a woman online, she lived in a different continent, but he was certain she was the love of his life. Spent over a year chatting and emailing her and helping her with money from time to time. Very fishy stuff, but he refused to listen to my skepticism. It ended when he had saved up enough money to go visit her. He went, came back back 2 days later and refused to ever admit what had happened. Went to his grave without ever talking about it. Second place goes to my father, who cheered him on. He wasn't sure whether it was a scam or not, but he thought it was nice that my brother had hopes and dreams. My parents adopted an at-risk teen while their marriage was falling apart. It was a train wreck. My brother ran for public office without having an agenda. He had no leadership qualifications, background in position, or support from anyone in the community. He's took out a $10K personal loan to finance his political run and held one fundraiser where most of the attendees were family and couldn't vote for him. He lost badly, coming in last behind 4 other candidates. It took him years to pay back the loan and refill his savings, which he completely drained to pay for his signage and flyers. Saddest of all, the printer misspelled his name on both items, so any remnant is a harsh reminder of how badly things went. I mean, at least he went out there and tried. Waste their entire inheritance on drugs. My uncle got himself a mistress, lent her $10,000 he never got back, and lost his job defending her at work. Wife served him divorce papers short afterwards. He gave up his house to his wife, so he ended up jobless and homeless, sleeping on our couch at the ripe age of 60. Single mother of 3 living in poverty. Gave her parents her $6,000 tax refund to hold on to because she didn't want her abusive ex to convince her to split it with him. Parents spent it all in weeks. Oh my god, that's so awful. Being passive and just letting everything happen to him. He wasn't sure if he wanted kids or not, but his girlfriend did. So they had sex without condoms. She got pregnant with twins. He looked absolutely miserable. Similar things happened to him involving housing. His family convinced him to put the parents' mortgage in his name. Things got messy. Don't just let things happen to you. My friend chose to have a child with a man who had cheated on her multiple times while still in high school. No, come on. What is the worst candy? For me, it's black licorice. It's just, the taste is so gross. When they changed the Crunch Bar recipe, that was a crime against humanity. My mom dips black licorice in baking soda. Unfun dip. Is your mom okay? That's not like a human thing to do. The off-brand Walgreens brand chocolate you get around Easter. It tastes chalky and like it was sweetened with Splenda. Not sure what it is, but there is a whole fucking bowl at my grandma's house. They were fun, but waxed lips. They were big, red, and made out of wax. Some even had vampire teeth. Thrills gum. No, I don't want my gum to taste like soap. Jelly Belly Bean Boozled. Ain't nothing like barf and rotten egg flavored beans. You guys know those fake M&Ms that come in those candy canes? God, I hate those things. Blood flavored beans and jelly bean roulette. Taste very strongly of iron. The thought makes me start gagging now. Musk flavored anything. Stuff is cologne, not candy. You're about to make some Australians very upset. Once again, it's very good that they don't exist, am I right? What is the weirdest rumor you heard about yourself? That I was dead. I got in a bad car wreck in high school and an off-duty nurse was first on the scene. She happened to have a white blanket to cover me up with because I was laying on the ground and it was cold. A classmate drove by and saw my car and a body under a white blanket. I missed the next day of school because I was too sore. When I came in the day after that, everyone gasped and said they heard I had died in a car wreck. That's definitely an interesting one. I killed my mother. This went around in high school, while I was in high school. Like somehow I was going to be there in class with them if they were remotely true. It kept me from getting bullied though. FYI, I called my mom yesterday and sang happy birthday to her. So, bit insane considering you've killed her. Somebody spread a rumor that I purposefully gave their cat acid by making out with the cat while I had acid on my tongue. They claim their cat has never been the same. I have never French kissed a cat and I would never risk poisoning an animal. I think that person just doesn't like you. That I had 6 toes, not on 1 foot, but in total. Sloth looking ass. In school in Ireland, a girl asked her ex about me because we were in the same class, and in a bid to put her off, he told her that I was French, that I wrote poetry, I played chess, and being half English, I ate crumpets all the time. She still dated me, and it made for a very interesting conversation on our first date, so it kinda backfired on him. What emo teen wouldn't want to date a French guy who writes poems? For real, it sounded like he was just setting you up. That I was breeding octopuses for their ink to use in my printer. Spread it myself myself though as a joke in school, but it caught on and the whole year below me believed it and even asked about it to my friends. Been a while ago, but still makes me chuckle. It was a squid. Yeah, that's the only lie there. He wasn't breeding octopus, he was breeding squid. That I had a secret twin sister living in another country. Not at all true. That I was a criminal with a warrant and needed to be in jail. Then the cops showed up because, lo and behold, in the paper there was a person who looked fucking exactly like me with a warrant. Got cleared up real fast, but damn if I don't have a near identical twin jackass out there. What's the most totally overrated classic rock artist / band? So many people picking 90s bands as classic rock. Thanks for making me feel super old. You're welcome. Kiss getting wrecked in the comments. I really hope Gene Simmons finds this thread. Gene Simmons have literally been told all this since they started. He also doesn't care at all. He acknowledges that the band is basically a reason to sell loads of merch and it's all about the money. That one that you like so much. You take that back. I cannot believe this comment. Unforgivable. You don't know what they mean to me. Kiss. Truthfully, I don't think I can name a single Kiss song. Man, this thread is making me feel like an idiot for liking Kiss, lol. They really helped inspire my guitar playing as a teen like 12 years ago. In this thread, Kiss. Lots of Kiss. I literally only know them for the face paint and the tongue. That's it. I don't know any songs. Kiss. They had maybe 3 decent songs and one of them was Beth. They were all about the makeup and stage effects. Not so great music. Kiss. They got great marketing, but music isn't that amazing. Not bad, just not that good, I think. Damn, people really hate Kiss, huh? Which singer is instantly recognized by their vocal style? Not their lyrics, just their voice. Louis Armstrong. Oh, 100%. He's always singing about like, what a wonderful world. Kermit the Frog. Why are there so many songs about rainbows? That's the best you got from me, baby. Michael Jackson. All you have to do to emulate Michael Jackson is just give a quick hee and Shimona. Ow! Johnny Cash. I only know a few songs, so I'm not sure if I'd be able to recognize him easily. DMX. Well, you know what they say. X is gonna give it to you. Elvis. Can we all admit that we really don't care about Elvis too much? Janis Joplin. Nina Simone. Birds Flying High. You know how I feel. Leonard Cohen. Gonna be honest, I don't know a lot of these people. What is something people brag about that signals a red flag? I had a coworker tell me that she drives great drunk. How easily they can manipulate people, or how good they are at lying. Most people I've come across that boast about being good people are actually massive pieces of shit. How overprotective their partner is. Never ends well. I worked with a guy who bragged about being in prison for most of his life, and somehow everyone was stupid to him. I don't know if this makes sense, but when someone tries to one-up your struggles, it's not only annoying, but a huge red flag. If I said I didn't get a lot of sleep, they would be like, oh, that's crazy. I got 5 seconds of sleep while being dangled over a fireproof alligator pit filled with lava from a fishing line. It just shows that they will literally never be there for you and make every conversation about themselves. When their entire lives revolve around banging, it's not my fault I'm a carpenter, or a drummer, or a crip. Money. Any actual rich person will usually rather try to be more low-key to avoid people using them. Working too much. It's not a bad thing, but for me, it's a red flag in any relationship. I don't live for the hustle, and people who think it's impressive they work 60 to 70 hours a week because they have important work to do are free to do as they please, but get a big I'll pass, especially if it's on a date. I used to work 60 to 70 hours a week, and there's nothing to brag about. It's like Stockholm Syndrome for a job. I'm just blunt and tell it like it is. Translates to, I'm just an abrasive asshole who finds every opportunity to bring people down. What is something that happens to all of us, but no one ever talks about it? Tripping on the sidewalk and hoping no one noticed, lol. Weird unexplained heart flutters or chest pain that makes you ask yourself, is this what a heart attack feels like? I just think to myself, well, this is it. It's been a hell of a ride, y'all. And then the couple seconds pass and you're like, oh, okay, I'm good. That moment when it truly hits home that you're not young anymore and there's nothing you can do to stop the decline. Intrusive thoughts. Them bastards really be annoying. Yes, as a clinician, it is wild how many people come in and are so ashamed and genuinely think they are awful, horrible people for having intrusive thoughts. It's so upsetting for them. Definitely needs to be discussed more. Your pubes go gray. At that point, I'm just gonna be hairless. Getting that occasional snot out of your nose that's so big it feels like it's taking a part of your brain out with it. Cringy, soul-scratching flashbacks that you can physically feel. When you want to know what time it is, so you look at your watch or phone, but when you put it down, you realize you didn't actually synthesize the information, so you have to look again. But then 10 seconds later, you realize you still don't know the time, so you have to look again. Then maybe a minute later, someone asks you what time it is, and you realize you actually have to look at your phone a fourth goddamn time. This is me checking my cards at poker or looking for snacks in the fridge. Look, it's always on the fourth or fifth look that something will appear. Parents getting old. You don't think about it or talk about it until it really hits one day. When you flush, but it doesn't flush all the poo, so you have to flush again. What is that? I'm so sick of the embarrassing second flush. It's like I didn't take a monster shit, okay? I'm normal. What are the worst ways to die? Rabies. If you want to be terrified, look up the progress of your death if you get infected and start showing symptoms. It's still insane that we haven't figured out how to cure rabies even in the later stages. Getting stuck cave diving. You couldn't pay me to go spelunking. A lot of the things listed are terrible, of course, but you would rarely, if ever, see some of them. But as a hospital physician, I all too often have to watch people, usually smokers, with decimated lungs die a fear-ridden, dread-filled death, not being able to catch a simple breath, and you can see the terror in their eyes as they know they are probably not leaving that hospital alive. Being skinned alive. Yeah, that doesn't sound too great. Starving to death, severe hypothermia, or death by exposure. Just terrible in how prolonged your pain is. I used to do volunteer cadaver recovery, and the worst thing I saw was a person who fell and broke their hip and pelvis in the woods and literally dragged himself for half a mile before he died. It looked like he survived for several days and expired via thirst and starvation and exposure. The investigators concluded he lived for 9 days after his injury. Oh my god, that's horrible. The old death by 1,000 cuts. I heard steaming is worse than burning since it doesn't damage the pain receptors as fast. What food is expensive and overrated? A lot of food. I think a lot of food is overpriced. Anything Salt Bae serves. Gold Flake. It tastes like nothing and it's just a flex you have money to waste. Fast food. It used to be the cheaper option. Now I could go have a nice family dinner at a sit-down restaurant for what fast food is costing. All of it. Getting rough going to Aldi's. $20 at Aldi used to put in so much work. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings are simply overpriced as hell. Yeah, last time I got it, it was just so much for so little. Red Delicious apples. Why do people hate Red Delicious? They're fine. Himalayan pink salt. The reddish color comes from iron oxide. Same shit as rust. In Tibet, it is considered low-grade salt and they use it to salt the animal feeds because it has more minerals. LEL. Avocado toast. I'd be able to afford a house in a good neighborhood and support a family of 5 on a single income if I hadn't eaten that in my 20s. I don't think I've ever eaten avocado toast and I'm still poor, so checkmate, atheist. Whatever new fad food that got people lining up for 5 hours. Oh, like when In-N-Out opened here in Colorado? Yeah, that was awful. What keeps you from going insane? Not a lot. Whoa, I'm crazy. Pure spite. That's just the reason to keep living in general. Surrendering to the present in order to detach from past pains and future uncertainties. Nothing. I've gone insane. That train left the station 30 years ago. Antidepressants. Well, at least you found something that works. Literally music. If I didn't have music, I think I would have killed someone by now. I think I actually am already insane. Seeing a trend that most people on Reddit are insane. Venting with people who vent about the same things. Sounds kinda sus to me. Cat pictures on the internet. Oh, you pure soul. Fellow horror film fanatics, what's your favorite horror or thriller? If I'm being honest, and also this is not an advertisement, I just really liked that new movie Barbarian. It terrified me, and I don't get scared easy. Descent for newer, Night of the Living Dead for classic. Still haven't watched The Descent, but I'm planning on it because, ooh, that looks creepy. Someone else already said my favorite, but I'd like Sinister to get a mention. The idea behind Sinister was very cool. The Thing, 1982. Masterpiece of atmosphere, characters, and especially practical effects. The biggest sin was the 2011 remake where they had a lot of practical effects, but in post they opted for CG, which really bummed me out. Alien. fucking classic. Ellen Ripley truly is a gay icon. Alright, and the Xenomorph 2, The Shining. It's shinin'. Do you want to get sued? Okay, I'm gonna be honest, vulnerable, and brave here. The Shining is really boring. It's not great. The Vivitch is very good. Still haven't gotten around to that one, but I do really like Anya Taylor-Joy, so gonna have to watch it soon. Hereditary, one of the best recent horror movies. Toni Collette is phenomenal in this. Still an absolute crime she didn't get nominated for an Oscar, even though generally horror movies don't get nominated for Oscars, but she did so good, come on! Silence of the Lambs. Halloween. Oh, I forgot that Halloween is the name of the movie. I was like, alright, I get you watch it during Halloween, okay. Wolf Creek and Cabin in the Woods. When I was younger, I was too scared to watch Cabin in the Woods before I knew it was kind of a comedy. Film The Conjuring is my favorite horror movie. I will say, the first Conjuring is really solid. Then the second and third, throw them away. Well, I gotta go carve a pumpkin, so thank you all so much for watching. Once again, my name is Brandon, and I will speak into your ear holes one other day. I don't know. Bye!